Guys, this opening is way too real. Just because he's overweight and not attractive, our boy is treated like a literal human punching bag at school every single day. But then the unbelievable happens. Check this out. He wakes up and boom, he's got a second body. A perfect, super handsome, model tier body. He literally just switched from nightmare mode to a power fantasy. Meanwhile, our original boy Daniel runs into this super aggressive stray dog in the rain, and it immediately starts biting his hand. But get this, he figures out the dog is just mad because he took the scarf he'd wrapped around it to wash it. The dog literally came back to complain. Look at our boy being such a sweetheart. Not only did he build a temporary house for the dog, but he also gives the scarf back, explaining he was just worried it would get sick. The dog is just completely stumped, totally confused by the kindness. But the peace doesn't last long. The dog's owner shows up, and something is seriously wrong. The poor dog is crying out for him, but the owner is just standing there with what looks like a bloody cane. The whole vibe just got super tense. Turns out, this dog is a new mom, and she's on high alert, not letting anyone get near her pups. Our boy Daniel is just trying to give her some food, for nourishment, but she goes into full-on protective mode. Talk about an awkward standoff. Just then, a girl with long hair shows up like an actual angel. She says she'll start bringing food for the mama dog every day. Daniel is so relieved. Finally, someone else who cares about this little family. And now, we cut to the world of the rich and powerful. This dude in a suit is trying way too hard to hit on a rich girl named Crystal, talking about her dad, her company shares, anything to get her number. But you can tell she is not impressed in the slightest. The guy, Kitai, keeps going on about his grand plan to fix the company's public image and boost stock prices. Crystal's just playing along, saying okay, but her inner thought bubble is literally sucker. This girl is playing chess while he's playing checkers. Meanwhile, in yet another subplot, this girl is on a super tense phone call in her bedroom. She's desperately lying about her family situation, making up excuses. It's clear she's hiding a massive secret. Back at school, we got the popular kid, Vinjin, walking around with a blonde girl, soaking up all the attention. He's acting all high and mighty, but then they both see something that stops them dead in their tracks. They are completely shocked. And what do they see? The dude who was kicking the stray dog earlier. On top of that, we see the mean girl, Yui, talking trash behind someone's back. But then, a new ridiculously beautiful girl makes her grand entrance, and literally every head turns. This new transfer student, she's definitely here for a reason. She's thinking, I think I could run into him. Okay, who is him? The mystery deepens. Okay, the star power is real. The moment she steps out of the elevator, every guy in the office just freezes and stares. People are whispering about how she has a twin, but they look nothing alike. Wait a second, could she have two bodies too? Back in the classroom, Vin Jean is completely obsessed with the new girl. He can't stop thinking about her. Meanwhile, the gossip about Yui's bullying is spreading. The high school drama is brewing. Zack the boxer has had enough. He steps up to defend the person Yui was bullying, scaring the crap out of her followers. But the second his crush, Mira, shows up, he turns into a total puppy dog. The duality of this man is hilarious. Yui is officially panicking now that her backup is gone. And our boy, handsome Daniel, is just chilling in the background, watching the whole drama unfold. He's just too cool for this. Meanwhile, Mr. Cool Guy Vin Jean finally musters up the courage to ask the new girl for her number, and he completely fumbles it. He's so awkward. It's a hilarious contrast to his usual tough guy act. Amidst all the drama, we get a wholesome update. The mother dog, Inu, and her puppies are all getting healthier. It's a nice little breather from all the high school tension. Original Daniel has basically become the guardian angel for this dog family, always making sure they have food. The neighbors are touched, but also worried that someone might try to harm them. It's like the mother dog knows he's a good person. When Daniel starts to leave, she tries to lead her puppies to follow him, as if she's decided he's their new owner. And then, the most heartwarming moment. Inu comes back carrying that red scarf. Does she recognize him? Does she know this is the same kind person who helped her before? This is too pure. Daniel is using both his bodies to take care of the dogs. Handsome Daniel takes them jogging, while original Daniel handles the rest. But reality hits hard. He's broke and can't afford to raise 5 puppies. Luckily, our boy has amazing friends. He manages to find homes for the puppies with Zack and Jay. Especially Jay, the rich kid, whose eyes just light up at the sight of them. You can tell they're going to be spoiled rotten. Seeing how happy Jay is with the puppies, Daniel feels a quiet sense of gratitude. It's a touching moment, showing the genuine bond of their friendship that goes beyond looks. Later, the gang is eating together, and Jay is already in full dog dad mode, showing off pictures on his phone. But this just makes Daniel sweat. He's terrified Jay will want to visit. And what if he accidentally wakes up his other body? The secret would be out. In the cafeteria, we get to know another one of Daniel's classmates, Vasco. He's this huge, muscular dude who seems a bit simple-minded but has a heart of gold. The supporting cast in this series is just top tier. Now, let's get to a new character, this guy who is absolutely desperate to become famous online. He's trying to copy all these bizarre internet trends like armpit bibimbap, and it's a total flop. 0 likes, 0 comments. You hate to see it. But our wannabe influencer isn't giving up. He starts scrolling through profiles of hot girls, dreaming of the day he'll be famous enough to meet them. He gets fixated on this one girl, Ryo1, and her latest thirst trap post. He slides into her DMs, gets no reply, and then he stumbles upon this other guy, Daehoon Shin. The dude looks like a full-on gangster, covered in tattoos, but he has over 350,000 followers. The jealousy is real. Our guy is fuming. A quick look at Daehoon's feed shows you why he's so popular. He's flashing luxury cars, stacks of cash, and is always surrounded by girls. He's crafted this whole young gangster idol persona, and his followers are eating it up. Comparison is the thief of joy, my friends. Seeing Daehoon's success while he's getting 0 engagement just crushes our clout chaser spirit. He's hit rock bottom, drinking his sorrows away alone. So this wannabe influencer is actually Daniel's friend, Du Lee. He gets so worked up that he decides to post a video dissing Daehoon Shin, calling him a third-rate punk and challenging him. Oh boy, this is a terrible idea. The next morning, original Daniel wakes up, checks his phone, and his jaw drops. Du Lee's insane call-out video went viral. He's got over 70,000 likes and 10,000 new followers overnight. He wanted attention, and boy did he get it. Little does Du know who he messed with. Meanwhile, in some dark room across the city, we see Daehoon's crew interrogating some guy with a bloody baseball bat. Yeah, these guys are not just internet posers. They're the real deal. And to make things worse, these actual gangsters upload the video of the beating as a direct response to Du Lee. This ain't just online beef anymore. This is a straight-up death threat. And finally, the man himself, Daehoon Shin, sees the video. His face is bruised and bloody, and he looks absolutely furious. Who is this dumbass? He asks. The storm is coming. But poor Du Lee is completely oblivious to the danger he's in. He's walking through the school halls, high on his newfound fame. For the first time, everyone is looking at him, and he feels like a celebrity. The fame is already getting to his head. He's acting like he's on a different level from everyone else, bragging about being a famous broadcaster and looking down on his classmates like they're foolish peasants. He even tries to recruit handsome Daniel to make videos with him, planning to use Daniel's good looks to get even more famous. The guy has no shame. His obnoxious behavior starts to annoy his friends. He's being loud and disruptive in the dorm, and even the usually quiet Jay has to tell him to keep it down. The conflict escalates. Du starts arguing with his friends over money and his arrogant attitude. He's pushing away the only people who actually care about him. Finally, his friends have had enough and decide to distance themselves from him. He thinks everyone is his slave, but now he's truly alone. Having lost his real friends, Du becomes even more obsessed with his online stats. He panics when a post gets few likes and rages with jealousy at other creators. He's completely addicted to the validation. After getting flooded with hate comments, his mental state deteriorates even further. He decides he needs to do something more extreme for attention, shaving his head with a maniacal grin on his face. This is getting dark. Meanwhile, Daehoon Shin is being briefed on the situation. He's sitting on the toilet, clenching his fists in anger. His friends tell him they aren't kids anymore. They're going to handle this like adults, which for them means violence. These guys are smarter than they look. They know how to monetize their gangster image. They see Du Lee's clout as an opportunity and decide to contact him to film together. This is so obviously a trap. Du gets the invitation. He's terrified, but also excited, thinking this is his big break. Little does he know, the gangsters have already found his location. Now trapped with the gangsters, Du Lee and his friend are trying to act tough, confident that the thugs don't know who they really are. They have no idea how wrong they are. Just as Du is celebrating a sponsorship deal, thinking he's finally made it, a comment pops up that sends a chill down his spine. Daehoon Shin says he's after you, LOL. The party's over. Handsome Daniel sees how things have escalated online. He realizes his idiot friend is in serious, real-world trouble. He can't just stand by. He grabs a baseball bat. It's time for our boy to step in. It's too late. Du Lee and his friend have been doxxed. Their personal information is all over the internet. Looking at his phone, Daehoon smirks. I find you too. Daehoon and his crew are on the move, heading out to find their targets. The hunt is on. Meanwhile, handsome Daniel's face is set with determination. And in the chaos, some poor guy gets a face full of fish cake. Even while in hiding, Dooley is still completely obsessed with his phone. He's glued to the screen, celebrating his 100,000 comments while his friend is panicking about them getting killed. This guy's priorities are seriously messed up. But then, a miracle happens. Ryo 1, the girl he was simping for, actually replies to his message. Dude is ecstatic, jumping for joy. He completely forgets that actual gangsters are hunting him down. They agree to meet at a cafe, and she actually shows up. Dude is a nervous wreck, sweating bullets. He thinks he's on a date, but little does he know, he's just walked right into a trap. Meanwhile, handsome Daniel runs into two of Daehoon's thugs. He's still trying to piece everything together, wondering what mess has he gotten himself into, referring to his other body and his clueless friends. Without missing a beat, Daniel lands a clean kick on one of the thugs, taking him down instantly. The other guys are shocked. They can't believe this pretty boy, who's wearing a cast, can fight like that. The beatdown continues. Daniel grabs the baseball bat and just goes to town on them. He's not messing around. This is a one-sided slaughter. The thugs are completely stunned. They finally realize they've picked a fight with the wrong guy. Daniel's raw power is way more than they can handle. After taking care of them, Daniel drops the coldest line. I'm a bit busy, so I'll stop there. If we had met in my neighborhood, you'd be going to hospital. Absolute badass. Back at the cafe, the battle is more psychological. Ryo 1 is telling Du that all of her guy friends are in boy bands, basically flexing on him and making him feel like a total loser. But Du, bless his simple heart, completely misses the point. When she mentions a theme park, he gets all excited and lies about having a motorcycle to impress her. Bro, read the room. The ridiculousness continues as Du and his friend try to dine and dash with the girls. They think they've made a clean getaway, but just as they reach their car, a hand reaches in and grabs them. They're caught. And surprise, surprise, it's Daehoon's entire crew. They're surrounded. But just in the nick of time, handsome Daniel arrives on the scene, facing off against the whole gang by himself. The final showdown is about to begin. Picking up right where we left off, our boy Daniel doesn't waste a second. He immediately jumps into the fray, taking down one of the thugs with a brutal elbow strike. The crowd goes wild, everything descends into chaos, and people are screaming to call the cops. Meanwhile, poor Du Lee is getting absolutely pummeled on the ground. Just as he's about to pass out, an old man with a cane suddenly appears, yelling at the gangsters. Seeing a glimmer of hope, Du desperately calls out for help. And guess what? Our boy Daniel cleans house in no time. He not only deals with the gang, but also posts a victory photo on Facebook captioned, "Finally caught my attackers." The post blows up instantly, and back in the classroom, everyone's talking about it, gossiping that Du Lee's been absent because he got knocked out cold. Daniel is playing this whole social media game like a chess master. He posts about how violence is wrong, but insulting his mother was the last straw, instantly winning public sympathy. But then he drops a bombshell. He claims his other attacker, Taejun Park, escaped. And just like that, our original boy Daniel is now a fugitive, hiding in an alley, completely freaking out. The irony is brutal. Just as little Daniel is desperately trying to hide, the worst possible thing happens. A couple of fangirls recognize him as the Facebook star, Taejun Park. They snap a picture with him, and boom, it goes viral with 700K likes. His cover is completely blown. Talk about a nightmare scenario. Using the power of social media, handsome Daniel tracks down the gang leader, Daehoon. We see Daniel back in his room, annoyed that this Taejun Park is still causing trouble and provoking him. The scene cuts to Daehoon, caught and forced to his knees, begging for forgiveness. Dooley isn't getting off easy either. His entire history of being a thug and picking on weaker kids gets exposed online. The internet mob rallies behind Daniel, while in the real world, Dooley gets the beating he probably deserved, left with no choice but to apologize profusely. And honestly, nobody feels sorry for these guys. The comment section is ruthless. As Daniel gives them a lesson on how to be a decent person, the school bell rings. Back in the classroom, Zach gets up from his seat. You can tell something's on his mind. Turns out, Zach and Mira have been following the whole situation. Mira worries that calling the cops is useless, as they might just be paid off. But a flashback reveals that Zach has some personal history with Daehoon. He feels indebted and decides he has to go save them, even though he can't stand Dooley. Zach isn't about to let his friend go alone and rallies his own backup. Meanwhile, over in the architecture department, Vasco and his crew, the Burn Knuckles, are also discussing the incident. But surprisingly, Vasco makes the call. They're staying out of it. Vasco's crew has a strict code. They only handle violence that happens on school grounds. They know Daehoon Shin is a big deal, rumored to be running illegal money-making schemes. But since this is happening off campus, they're sticking to their principles. Rules are rules. Let's cut back to our poor original Daniel. To escape the citywide manhunt his other self started, he's hiding out in an abandoned warehouse, scared, exhausted, and on the verge of a breakdown. Just as he's wallowing in hunger and despair, the warehouse door slams shut. A figure approaches him in the darkness, his own handsome face looming over him, and says coldly, "There's no one here." It's him. His other body has found him. Little Daniel's mind is racing. He thinks about running away, escaping to the countryside, but it's too late. His perfect counterpart leans in with a terrifyingly calm smile and whispers, "Found you." The confrontation between the two Daniels is finally here. It turns out this whole thing was a setup orchestrated by Handsome Daniel. He's in a taxi with Daehoon, planning the next phase, a punishment live stream. He's using the capture of his original self to farm clout online, and his likes and followers are skyrocketing. The man knows how to play the game. They take little Daniel and Do Lee to a remote construction site. The two captives look around at the desolate location, completely terrified. They're still naive enough to think they can talk their way out of this. Meanwhile, other players are on the move. Zach is worried about his friend, and across town, Vasco shows up to the location alone. Apparently, he found them using a lover locator app. Back at the live stream, the punishment begins as Daehoon forces them to strip in the freezing cold. Tied up and kneeling, little Daniel and Do Lee are shivering violently from the cold. The gang members just stand around laughing, mocking them and saying how this whole setup looks like a movie scene. It's absolutely heartless. To make matters worse, Daehoon reveals that the previous escape was completely staged to get views. Now, for the sequel, he wants little Daniel to escape again by jumping from the third floor. Faced with this insane demand, our boy and Do Lee are plunged into total despair. Just in the nick of time, a bald dude crashes the party, interrupting the twisted performance. Everyone, including Daehoon's crew, is stunned, asking, "Who the hell is this guy?" Back with Handsome Daniel, he's just chilling, watching his follower count explode. People are even offering to buy his account for a ton of money. He's completely absorbed in his newfound fame, oblivious to the fact that his little production has just been crashed. The intruder is none other than Vasco. He tells the gang that if they just apologize, he'll let this slide. Daehoon's goons are furious at his audacity, grabbing weapons and threatening to make Vasco part of their grand finale. Vasco completely ignores the small fry and walks right over to little Daniel, pulling him up to leave. Daniel tries to warn him, telling him these guys are dangerous, but retreat clearly isn't in Vasco's vocabulary. Daehoon's crew surrounds them, mocking Vasco for talking funny and bringing a lame arm with him. Vasco, with a deadpan expression, simply states, "You're a bad guy. Let's finish this." A huge fight is about to break out. Vasco rips open his shirt, revealing a massive tattoo and a deep handprint bruised onto his chest. He looks at them with pure determination and says, "I still have unfinished business." His sheer presence sends a chill through the entire crew. Seeing Vasco's old-school Irizumi tattoo, the thugs immediately realize he's not just some random dude. This guy is the real deal. Vasco grabs one of their arms with an iron grip and warns him, "You don't let go, I will hit you." Some lackey with a baseball bat tries to act tough, but Vasco disables him with a single move, dislocating his arm. It's at this moment everyone understands. This bald guy is on a completely different level. Vasco makes it clear, he's only here for Taijun Park. Little Daniel is stunned. When no one else believed him, Vasco came to save him, all by himself. Seeing this, Daehoon decides to cut his losses, letting him take Daniel while planning to finish his twisted film with Do Lee. But just then, Zach arrives on the scene. He storms past Vasco and confronts Daehoon directly, but not to save anyone. "Think I'd ask for your help?" he scoffs. "I have business to attend to." The tension in the room just shot up to a whole new level. It turns out Zach and Daehoon have some beef from the past. Zach gets into a fighting stance and roars, "I'm not here to save him. I'll come and pay you back twofold." The showdown between these two powerhouses is about to begin, and the surrounding thugs start cheering, ready for a show. Daehoon smirks, seeing the cast on Zach's arm, clearly underestimating him. But he has no idea that a broken hand isn't nearly enough to stop Zach. "You should back off before you regret it," Zach warns. And the fight is on. Zach, with zero hesitation, smashes his cast-covered fist right into Daehoon's face. The sickening crack echoes through the warehouse. Daehoon is stunned, and everyone watching is in disbelief. Who in their right mind attacks with their broken hand? Zach goes into absolute beast mode, unleashing a relentless barrage of punches on Daehoon. It's a brutal, one-sided beatdown, leaving Daehoon bloody and unable to fight back. Daehoon's crew is just frozen, shocked by Zach's speed and his utter disregard for his own injury. Blood starts seeping through his bandages, but he doesn't even flinch, tossing another opponent aside like a rag doll. Just as things are about to get completely out of control, Mira rushes in, trying to stop the fight. She pleads with Zack to calm down, yelling, "Do not fight." But Zack is too far gone, lost in his rage. After all that drama, life seems to return to normal. Back in the classroom, little Daniel finds Du Li acting like a big shot again, even trying to get him to do his laundry. Some people never learn. But this time, our boy stands up for himself and flat out refuses. On another note, Daniel manages to clear the air with Zack and Mira. Despite the misunderstandings, the incident seems to have brought them closer. For the first time, our boy is experiencing the warmth of true friendship. And now, we transition to a completely new story arc. We see a mysterious, handsome blonde guy walking a bunch of dogs. This is Jay, and just by the way he carries himself, you can tell he's in a different league. We flash back to the past. A man in a sharp suit is visiting Jay's home. He pulls out a set of colorful leashes from a case, and Jay's reaction is one of pure shock. There's clearly a story behind these leashes. The man in the suit looks incredibly serious, almost angry. Jay is terrified, sweating bullets. In the end, the man uses those leashes to take away Jay's beloved puppies. So, it turns out Jay's job is to be a dog walker. He's walking the same puppies that were taken from him, looking exhausted and sad. That's when he bumps into another man with a big Labrador, who seems to be the mother of all these little pups. The mother dog, Inu, happily reunites with her puppies. It's a heartwarming scene. But looking on, Jay's expression is complicated. He's just the hired help, a tool with no say in the fate of these animals he's grown to care for. Jay continues his duties, diligently cleaning up after the pups. Suddenly, one of them gets a little too friendly and jumps on him, startling him so much that he runs away. Looks like our cool and aloof Jay might have a bit of social anxiety. He ties the dogs to a post and continues cleaning up from a distance, always maintaining his space. There's something a little heartbreaking about how careful he is. However, when he unties the leashes to head back, he realizes the mother dog, Inu, is missing. A wave of panic hits Jay as he frantically starts searching for her. Meanwhile, Inu has wandered into an alley where she finds a lost puppy. She approaches it gently, and the little pup, seeing her, acts as if it's found its savior and latches onto her leg. But danger was lurking just around the corner. A vicious wild wolf appears out of nowhere and attacks Inu's puppies. One of them is badly injured, bleeding on the ground. Seeing her child hurt, Inu is instantly filled with rage. The wolf shows no mercy, continuing its assault on the defenseless pups. But it made one fatal mistake. It messed with the mother. To protect her babies, Inu charges furiously towards the wolf. The puppies huddle around their injured sibling, terrified and helpless. Inu looks at her wounded child, her expression shifting from sorrow to pure, unadulterated fury. And across from them, the massive wolf watches, ready to strike again. Just then, Jay and the dog's owner finally arrive, drawn by the commotion. Peering into a dark hallway, they see the puppies trembling, one of them looking both terrified and fierce. They know immediately that something is very wrong. A brutal fight has already taken place. Inu is covered in blood, some of it the wolf's, some of it her own. The wolf's attack was savage, and despite her bravery, the size difference is just too great. Inu is quickly overpowered. The puppies watch in horror. Inu is wounded and on the ground, but for the sake of her children, she forces herself back up and engages the wolf in a desperate battle to the death. Jay and the owner are absolutely stunned when they witness the brutal scene. Without a second thought, they sprint towards the fight, desperate to help. Though covered in wounds, the power of a mother's love gives Inu incredible strength. Again and again, she throws herself at an enemy several times her size, refusing to back down. Just as the wolf is about to deliver a final, fatal bite, Jay arrives and lands a solid punch on its head, knocking it back. Jay looks at the brave mother dog, his eyes filled with a mixture of awe and shock. After the wolf runs off, Jay rushes to check on the injured puppies. Seeing the little one lying there, barely breathing, his heart sinks. Later, the owner takes the injured pup to the vet, while Jay stays behind to look after Inu and the others. Watching over them, a rare, genuine smile appears on Jay's face. Jay ends up taking all the dogs home with him. That night, he lies in bed, completely surrounded by the adorable pups. Though he keeps his usual cool expression, you just know he's feeling warm inside. The next morning, Jay is woken up by a storm of puppy licks. He jolts awake on the couch with a look of mock disgust, but he doesn't push them away. It's official. These little guys have completely won him over. Hesitantly, Jay reaches out and gently pets one of the puppies. It's the first time he's initiated contact. From this moment on, these dogs have become a permanent and precious part of his life. Back in the present day, Inu spots a familiar face on the street and wags her tail happily. But her joy is short-lived as she senses danger, her expression immediately turning wary. And just as she feared, the wolf is back. It lunges at Inu with a ferocious roar, and the battle begins anew. But this time, Inu isn't fighting alone. The wolf rampages through the street, but Inu meets its charge with incredible speed and power. It's almost as if she's undergone some kind of transformation, becoming stronger than before. After the battle, Inu reunites with her little crew. She's grinning from ear to ear, but one of the pups gives her a playful kick, as if to say, "Don't you ever scare us like that again." Jay's hand comes into frame, gently comforting them. The family is finally whole. Jay holds Inu in his arms, a contented smile on his face. They're walking with a group of friends, looking like one big, happy family. And that's the story of Jay and his pups. Finally, we cut back to handsome Daniel. He's out walking the dogs with Jay when he gets recognized again. People are whispering about the famous handsome guy from Facebook. Some are fangirling, others think he's arrogant. And all Daniel can think is, "I'm not an A-lister." The struggles of being the main character. Am I right? Meanwhile, back in the school cafeteria, the vibe is way less wholesome. We've got a whole table of haters complaining about annoying Facebook stars. And this one dude from the fashion department is bragging that if he went on social media, everyone else would be irrelevant. Okay, buddy. And speak of the devil. Our boy Daniel literally just steps out of school and gets stopped by this guy. He's sweating bullets, handing over a business card, begging Daniel to model for his website after seeing him on Facebook. The fangirling is real, folks. And the offer? $100 a day. The students nearby are freaking out. One guy with a cast even tries to steal the gig, but gets shot down. Talk about bad timing. Meanwhile, the haters are whispering that it's probably some no-name shop that matches his level. So much salt. But just as they're mocking him, bam, a freaking Benz pulls up. A much slicker-looking guy steps out and hands Daniel a card for a way bigger brand. The crowd loses it. This is the #1 online shop in the country. Now, that's a flex. And it turns into a full-blown bidding war. The guy from the Benz drops the mic. $100 an hour. The first scout absolutely panics, desperately lowballing his own offer from $50 all the way down to $1. It's just sad. Obviously, our boy goes with the winning team. Our boy plays it cool, though, telling them he'll think about it. Cut to that arrogant fashion student from earlier complaining about his measly $30 an hour pay. The irony is delicious. Back at home, things get wholesome. Mom's making his favorite crab soup, and Daniel makes sure she doesn't wake up his other sleeping body. The double life continues. During their chat, his mom realizes that all these nice clothes are borrowed from Jay. Daniel barely owns anything himself. So, in a burst of motherly love, she decides to take him shopping. And where do they end up? You guessed it. OH Clothing, the very store that offered him the big bucks. Talk about a small world. Who do they run into inside? The fashion snob from school, who apparently just works there. You can cut the tension with a knife. Him, some fiery redhead model, and the boss with the afro. Something is definitely going on between them. The clerk is a total snob, saying they don't have Daniel's size and everything's too expensive anyway. But you do not mess with Mama Park. She gets furious and tells Daniel to pick whatever he wants. He chooses a $166 shirt, and she promises to come back with the money tomorrow. You just feel Daniel's heart sink as she leaves. Everyone's on edge but the boss, that guy with the afro. He's looking at Daniel with a very particular interest. It's like he just struck gold. To buy that shirt for his mom and to prove the haters wrong, Daniel finally takes the modeling gig. And just like that, the main character energy is activated. He's soaking up the spotlight, loving every second of being treated like a celebrity. He admits it himself. He's not an A-lister, but damn does it feel good. The Afro boss is such a show-off. He buys coffee for everyone and struts down the street like he's shooting a movie. The rest of the crew is so over it. We also meet Joy, another famous model, who seems to have a thing with the boss. Together, they're causing a massive scene. And then this absolute clunker of a van rolls up. The other models start joking about it, calling it the homeless mall van. But Joy's face freezes. She seems to recognize it. Holy plot twist. The person who gets out to help carry bags is our boy, original Daniel. But the crew across the street doesn't see that. They see the face of Daniel Park, the hotshot model they were just shooting with, getting out of a junker to do manual labor. Everyone is frozen. The confusion is off the charts. His secret is so close to being blown. The staring contest is real. The models are completely baffled, staring at handsome Daniel, who's just arrived for the shoot. And our boy is just as confused, wondering why everyone's looking at him funny. He has absolutely no idea his other self was just here causing a scene. Anyway, back to the photo shoot. Daniel is a natural, the camera loves him, and the photographer is gushing. But you can tell he feels like an outsider. The other models are all in their little cliques, and he's just the new guy, surrounded by whispers. Oh, here comes a drama. The guy from the first, smaller agency is back, and he is not happy. He corners Daniel, demanding to know why he ghosted him and trying to poach him back. Super awkward. But Afro Boss isn't having any of it. He steps right in, dropping a bombshell that the other guy's company is about to go bankrupt and throwing shade at their models. He's not just protecting his investment, he's asserting his dominance. This whole confrontation lights a fire under the other models. Suddenly, the photo shoot turns into a pose-off. The veteran model is trying his hardest to outshine the rookie, and Daniel is just trying to keep up and learn the ropes. The pressure is on. Joy, the female model, thinks Daniel is watching her, and she's totally into it. Meanwhile, the other guys are acting like complete clowns, striking the most ridiculous poses to get attention. Daniel's just standing there, dying of secondhand embarrassment. But then, it's Daniel's turn. And with just a few simple moves, bam, he absolutely kills it. The whole crew is stunned into silence. This kid is a natural, an absolute prodigy. The second the shoot is over, he's instantly swarmed by fans who recognize him from Facebook, all begging for pictures. You can see he's getting tired of this, but he puts on a smile for the cameras. The struggles of being handsome, am I right? And then Joy makes her move. She swoops in, name drops her 200K followers, and declares them Facebook friends. Next thing you know, she's holding his hand for the cameras, totally manufacturing a couple moment. The girl knows how to play the game. The Afro Boss is clearly threatened by this. He tries to pull a fast one, offering to treat Daniel to dinner instead of paying him the $300 he's owed. Then he gets straight to the point, accusing him. Are you trying to steal my girl? So they all end up at a crab soup restaurant. And who's there but the owner of the smaller agency? He starts pouring his heart out about his dream of starting a brand and how he failed, even modeling the clothes himself to no avail. This dinner is just full of depressing stories. Regardless, Daniel gets his pay, and he is floored. The money he made in a few hours is more than he'd make in several nights of grueling work at the convenience store. His very first thought? What should I get for Mom? Our boy has his priorities straight. We get this powerful contrast between his two lives. And then, at the fish market, his world collides in the most heartbreaking way. He sees this poor old woman collecting discarded crab legs from the ground, and then the gut-wrenching realization hits him. Mom? And it all clicks into place. A flashback reveals why his mom's crab soup always only had legs. It wasn't some special recipe. It was because a whole crab was a luxury they couldn't afford. Absolutely shattered, Daniel tells the vendor he'll take all of them. All of them. He goes home and gives his mom everything, the money he earned, and a huge bag of whole crabs. Her face lighting up with joy is all the reward he needs. They finally share a proper crab soup together, and it's a beautiful, beautiful moment. But later that night, the emotional weight of it all crashes down on him. He breaks down crying. This second body isn't a game anymore. It's a lifeline. He makes a vow to himself. He has to use this body's potential, do whatever it takes to make money, and change their lives for good. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Zach the boxer is getting ready for a movie date with his crush, Mira. He's hyped, thinking she's going to love his pick, Rocky 17. A man's dream. Sweat. Friendship. Look at him, so confident and excited. What a pure soul. And there she is. Mira arrives, and Zach's heart just about stops. She looks absolutely gorgeous today, practically glowing. Look at our boy Zach, he's totally mesmerized. Can't even take his eyes off her. Plot twist. Mira actually wants to see a different movie, a romance flick. Zach's a little disappointed, but he plays it cool and agrees like a gentleman. He then tries to show off at the ticket counter, claiming he gets a military discount, but gets hilariously called out on his bluff. So embarrassing. After the movie, they meet up with Myra's friends. And who's among them? Our boy Daniel. The moment Zach sees him, his world shatters. Words like good manners, intelligent, and patience flash through his mind. He realizes with horror that Daniel is the complete opposite of him. The perfect ideal man. The rivalry is on. Zach's friend, being a total meathead, immediately starts mocking Daniel, asking him what kind of soap opera he thinks this is. Zach goes into full protective rival mode, glaring daggers at him. The tension just shot through the roof. But Daniel, ever the gentleman, diffuses the situation instantly. He offers a handshake and politely introduces himself as Myra's church friend. Zach's buddy is stunned by how polite he is. Now it's Zach's turn to be embarrassed, apologizing for his rude friend. After that smooth move, Myra's friends are totally impressed with Daniel. He's handsome, studies well, and he's polite. Meanwhile, Zach's friend is sizing him up, thinking this guy is a loser, and his eyes look so damn fierce. The contrast between the two groups is hilarious. Daniel tries to look cool and collected for Mira, even thinking about his walking pose. But karma strikes hard. He trips, sending a tray of coffee flying all over Mira. One of Zach's fangirls screams, and the whole cafe descends into chaos. Zach's fangirl starts putting on a show, crying and accusing Daniel of tripping her on purpose. Our boy is completely flustered, apologizing profusely. Zach, despite his rivalry, helps clean up the mess. The silence that follows is deafeningly awkward. Just when things couldn't get worse, a loud kid starts running around. Zach's meathead friend, in a moment of pure stupidity, slaps the child across the face. The kid starts wailing, and Zach and his other friend are completely horrified. What was he thinking? The kid's mom rushes over, demanding to know who hit her child. And the friend who did it, the absolute snake, points directly at Zach. Meanwhile, Daniel kneels down to comfort the crying boy. In one move, Zach is framed as a child beater, while Daniel looks like a saint. You can't make this up. Zach storms off to the bathroom, fuming. He's convinced Daniel planned everything, tripping him on purpose, framing him. His cheek is swollen from where the mom slapped him. He's been completely played, and there's nothing he can do about it. Meanwhile, Zach's so-called friends are trash-talking him behind his back, calling him a loser who doesn't deserve Mira. And guess who overhears all of it? Daniel. On the flip side, Mira is gushing to her friend about Daniel, calling him considerate and awesome, wondering if a guy like that could possibly be real. Back in the bathroom, the guys start talking trash about Mira, saying disgusting things. That's the last straw for Daniel. He's not going to stand for that. He slams his fist into the wall, breaking it, and tells them to shut their mouths. Just then, Zach steps out of his stall and sees the scene. Daniel with his fist in the wall, looking furious. He completely misreads the situation and thinks Daniel is there to fight him. Welp, it looks like this misunderstanding is about to get physical. The tension in the bathroom is insane. Zach's friend is trying to hype him up, while Daniel threatens to smash his dirty mouth. They're seconds away from throwing down, but just in the nick of time, Mira calls for Zach from outside, breaking the standoff. Zach rushes out, warning the other guys to watch their mouths. Back inside, Daniel is giving himself a pep talk, reminding himself to be patient and maintain his ideal image for Mira. He's really committed to the role. When Mira sees Zach, she playfully asks what took him so long. But Zach, remembering the horrible things his friend said about her, snaps. He's filled with rage and grabs her arm. He's completely lost his cool. And of course, Daniel walks out at that exact moment. He sees Zach grabbing Mira and immediately assumes the worst. Oh boy, this misunderstanding just went from bad to catastrophic. A fight is definitely about to break out now. Zach's trashy friend decides to stir the pot even more. He walks over, pretending to be a peacemaker, but then sucker punches Daniel, trying to escalate the situation. Zach is just stunned, watching it all go down. But instead of fighting back, Daniel starts trembling in fear, pleading with them to leave him alone. His acting is so convincing that the bullies are actually confused. They totally buy that he's just a scaredy cat. Zach's friends are totally amused by Daniel's cowardice and start mocking him. But they're so busy laughing, they don't notice the look in his eyes changing. That's not fear anymore. That's pure killer instinct. The lead bully then orders his crony to go get Myra's number, a clear power move to humiliate both Zach and Daniel. But seeing Mira get harassed is the one thing Daniel won't tolerate. In the blink of an eye, Daniel explodes into action. He delivers a brutal kick that sends the goon flying, landing headfirst on the pavement. Blood goes everywhere. Everyone is frozen in shock at the sudden, vicious violence. Before anyone can react, Daniel takes out the next guy with a single punch, sending him flying too. The crowd erupts and screams. Is this the same guy who was just trembling in fear? His power is absolutely terrifying. Zach tries to step in and stop the fight, but gets caught in the crossfire. Mira is screaming for someone to call the cops. The bully, clutching his bloody face, points at Zach and asks Mira if he's some kind of gangster. Myra's world is spinning. To make it all worse, the little kid from the cafe runs up, confirming that it wasn't Zach who hit him. All the lies and misunderstandings come crashing down at once. Mira looks at the chaos, at Zach, and her expression is just pure shock and disappointment. A few days later, back at school, Daniel gets a call from Mira. The whole school is talking about Zach's fight. He got caught in a lie and then just ran away, completely shattering Myra's trust in him. But Myra's here to see Daniel for a surprising reason. She hands him 2 tickets to Rocky, the movie Zach wanted to see. It seems like she's trying to understand Zach's world, even after everything that happened. So, Daniel and Mira go to the movies together. And after watching it, Daniel admits with a genuine smile that it was actually really fun. Maybe, in this moment, he started to understand Zach a little better too. Later, at a cafe, Mira is lost in thought about her ideal type, considerate, reliable, and as she's thinking, she takes a small heart-shaped bracelet and slips it onto Daniel's finger. Our boy is stunned. Is she confessing to him? The chapter ends with Daniel, dressed in a sharp suit, walking confidently down the street. People are whispering as he passes, saying he looks even hotter than before. It seems that after all this drama, our boy is embracing his new life with a new level of confidence. Handsome Daniel is now a pretty successful model. People are snapping pictures of him on the street. The photographer loves him, saying sales have skyrocketed since he joined. But all Daniel can think about is how to make even more money. Clearly, seeing his mom picking up crab legs left a deep scar. He flashes back to his original body, worrying about being a burden to his mom. And now, in this body, he's got agencies calling, he's making bank from streaming and getting offered $100 an hour to model. The contrast is insane, and he can't help but feel how messed up the world is. Just then, a crew of ridiculously handsome guys walks by. They're all tall, decked out in brand names, and stepping out of luxury cars. Everyone on the street is staring, wondering if they're a supergroup of rich models or something. Turns out, we've stumbled into some serious model squad drama. One of the girls got her heart broken and has been bad-mouthing the crew all over town, causing a major rift. The tea is piping hot. Her ex is laying on the gaslighting thick, calling her a nobody who dragged him down. She fires back, reminding him how much money she made for him. They part on bad terms, and the rest of the crew agrees to keep this whole messy affair a secret from their madam. Little do they know, someone was listening from a private room the whole time. It's one of their former teammates, the guy they ditched and left behind. And from the looks of it, he's in a really bad place. Cut back to our boy, original Daniel, who is secretly watching this handsome crew. He accidentally makes eye contact with one of them and totally freaks out. The guy comes over and asks why he was staring, and Daniel just panics, stammering that it's because they're so cool and begging them not to beat him up. So awkward. But surprisingly, the guy isn't mad. He actually offers Daniel a job, handing him a business card. The pay, potentially tens of thousands a month. Daniel is floored. This is the opportunity of a lifetime. He takes the card and rushes home to switch to his handsome body for the interview. That night, Daniel suits up and heads to the meeting. The guy who recruited him is impressed, saying he looks even hotter in a suit. Daniel thinks to himself that this guy's first impression is pretty good too. The meeting is at 3 a.m. in Gangnam, which strikes Daniel as odd. The recruiter is even more shocked to find out Daniel is still in high school, but he brushes it off, saying it's not a problem. He explains that this job is all about using your appearance as a weapon. He leads Daniel to their workplace, and the truth is revealed. It's a host club, a place where handsome men entertain female clients. Daniel finally understands. This is a job in the gray zone, which explains the insane salary. The other hosts start whispering about the new guy. A tough-looking woman sizes him up, seemingly unimpressed. Daniel is told to take a seat, and as he looks around at the lavish, decadent scene, he is completely shell-shocked. What kind of world has he just stepped into? So, our boy Daniel is plopped down in this high-end host club, completely shell-shocked. The manager lady is giving him a serious once-over, try to play it cool, but even she's thinking, well, he looks good. Daniel, on the other hand, is having a full-blown meltdown internally. Look at his face. He's just screaming, "What is this place?" And he's immediately thrown to the wolves. A wealthy client calls him dear and tells him to pour her a drink. Our boy, being the innocent soul he is, stammers that he can't drink. And the lady just laughs. She thinks he's just playing a cute, innocent character. Daniel is losing his mind, thinking, I can't believe this is happening. Meanwhile, the jealousy in the room is getting thick. The other hosts are shooting daggers at him. One guy is absolutely livid because Daniel just unintentionally stole his top regular client. The gossip starts instantly. This guy's a pro, he can sniff out money. Little do they know, our boy is just sitting there completely clueless and terrified. Our boy is in full panic mode, thinking, how do I escape this place? Just then, the recruiter comes back and says, Daniel, we're here. Come on in. He leads him down a staircase, and Daniel's confusion turns to dread. We're going to the basement. Yeah, this situation just went from bad to worse. Turns out the basement is just a meeting room for all the new recruits. Everyone's trying to act all cool and experienced, but the moment Daniel walks in, all eyes are on him. The fangirling is real. Everyone's whispering, he's so handsome. Where's he scouted? He got the main character aura, and he hasn't even said a word. Looking around, Daniel sees guys dripping in designer gear. A $10,000 suit here, a $20,000 watch there. He looks down at his own cheap clothes and feels a familiar sting of inadequacy. Can I really become like them? He wonders. I look so shabby. But then he starts listening to their conversations and realizes these guys are total scumbags. One is bragging about scamming multiple women to save up for a new car. They're all laughing and sharing tips on how to manipulate people. The glamour is fading fast, and Daniel is seeing the ugly truth of this world. And it gets worse. On top of scamming, these guys are into illegal gambling. Daniel is horrified. Oh man, I shouldn't have judged a book by its cover, in the worst way possible. These guys are criminals. I really have to get out of here. Back in the main club area, one of the rich clients spots Daniel and immediately gets obsessed. Seeing him decked out in what she assumes is his own designer clothing, courtesy of Jay, of course, she's convinced he's some kind of undercover rich kid. The fangirling is intense. The woman goes all out, announcing, "Fine, I'll give you all a gift," basically trying to buy Daniel's affection. The other hosts immediately start demanding watches and bracelets. One of the veteran hosts just scoffs, thinking, she'll pick that prick anyway. Our boy is causing waves without even trying. Overwhelmed with excitement, the client gives Daniel a huge hug, squealing, "You're so cute." Our boy freezes up, completely bewildered by this aggressive affection. He makes an excuse to get some water, but in his panic, he grabs a glass of booze by mistake and promptly spits it out. Smooth move, Daniel, real smooth. His coughing fit somehow makes the client even more obsessed, triggering her motherly instincts. But the guy whose client Daniel stole? He's reached his breaking point. He thinks Daniel is doing all this on purpose to mock him. He marches over, slaps the table, and yells, "Stand up." Uh-oh, it's about to go down. Faced with the confrontation, Daniel just stands up and calmly adjusts his tie. And let me tell you, he looks cool as hell doing it. The client is practically swooning. Look at her. The man doesn't even have to try. He's a natural-born heartthrob. Daniel himself doesn't know why he's so calm. It was just an instinct to fix his tie, but in that moment, all the panic in his eyes vanished, replaced by a steely, unshakable composure. Turns out, this club is full of tough guys. The host who's challenging Daniel is a former kickboxer, and he's not the only one with a fighting background. Everyone gathers around, expecting to see the new guy get absolutely wrecked. They're all thinking the same thing. A rookie starting trouble on his first day is bound to get put in his place. The veteran host goes on a rampage, spewing insults not just at Daniel, but at the female client too. He's completely lost it. He gives Daniel an ultimatum: beg like a dog and scram, unless you want your pretty face to get destroyed. Faced with the threat, it's like Daniel's body takes over. There's no fear, no hesitation. He just stands his ground, his eyes radiating a cold intensity. The fight is on. The host throws a wild punch, but Daniel's body reacts on pure instinct. Look at that clean dodge. He sidesteps it effortlessly. Even he's shocked by his own reflexes. What other secrets is this body hiding? After dodging the attack, his body naturally falls into a fighting stance. He can feel the power coursing through his muscles, a sensation he's never experienced before. This perfect body isn't just for show, it's a weapon. A few exchanges in, and not only is Daniel holding his own, he's dominating. The onlookers are stunned. They expected a one-sided beatdown, but they're watching a master at work. The host who started it all is getting completely outclassed, and he can't believe it. Daniel feels his body heating up. The power is just overwhelming. On pure instinct, he throws a perfect high kick. The crowd goes wild, shouting a high kick. Does he know kickboxing? And then he pulls out the ultimate move, a Brazilian kick. It connects perfectly, knocking the guy out cold. Daniel is stunned. A Brazilian kick? That's the exact move Vasco used on him before. This body, can it copy fighting styles it's seen just once? This is unreal. Staring at the guys collapsed on the floor, Daniel's mind is racing. What did I just do? He flashes back to the fight, realizing with certainty it was the technique that guy used. The potential of this body is beyond anything he could have imagined. Our boy is officially OP. And just when you think it can't get crazier, the cops raid the place. Someone called them. The hosts panic, and for good reason. The police run their records, and surprise, surprise, these guys are all wanted criminals with multiple arrests for fraud and assault. And they all got taken down by a single high school kid. You can't make this stuff up. By the time he gets out of the police station, the sun is already up. Daniel walks back to school, reeking of booze and looking like he's had the wildest night of his life. His classmates are stunned to see him, especially with his new hairstyle. That comma fringe? He's looking cooler than ever. Back in the beauty department, he's immediately surrounded by admirers complimenting his new look. Then he bumps into some guy in sunglasses who tells him to get out of the way. And without thinking, Daniel snaps back. "Wanna die?" Whoa, the host club persona is still lingering. He immediately regrets it and apologizes. That guy in the sunglasses is none other than Eli Jang from the fashion department. But even a guy like Eli is taken aback by Daniel's sudden, intimidating aura. Everyone starts whispering, "Who's this new flower prince challenging Eli?" And right at that moment, Yui spots Daniel and is completely shocked. Daniel is still in full-on host mode. He looks at Yui and smoothly calls her babe. She is absolutely flabbergasted. Is this the same Daniel Park she knows? He follows it up with, "It's okay, I'm rich." Oh my god, the secondhand embarrassment is real, but you can't deny the confidence. Our boy struts into school reeking of last night's adventure, and he is turning heads. The girls on the street are literally shouting babe as he walks by. He's got the celebrity treatment now, and he's just trying to get to class. Once he gets to the classroom, it's absolute chaos. Everyone's whispering, is he drunk? Why is he wearing a suit to school? The change is so drastic, they can hardly believe it's him. Some think he looks mature, while others are already gossiping that he must have sugar mama. But Crystal Choi is not impressed. She's fuming. He came to school straight from host bar. He's really going downhill. She can't believe her dad tasked her with keeping an eye on this guy. Frustrated, she slams her hand on the desk and stands up. Daniel is completely oblivious to her anger. His heart is pounding, but it's because he's thinking about Crystal. It was the first time I talked to a girl like this, he muses. Little does he know, his interaction with her has already made him the target of the entire class's jealousy. Just then, Jay silently offers him a hangover drink. Look at him, always looking out for our boy. Daniel is touched by the gesture. That's a true friend right there, showing up exactly when you need them without saying a word. During the break, Daniel goes outside for some fresh air and runs right into Vasco. Vasco sees the marks on his body and assumes he's been working out. Meanwhile, the girls are completely obsessed with Daniel's hungover bad boy vibe. The fangirling is getting out of control. Vasco hears that Daniel was drinking and gets a little concerned. The guys from the architecture department gather around, and one of them tries to start something, but Vasco holds him back. Daniel, still feeling the effects of the alcohol and his newfound confidence, just smirks and says, "You want to try me?" Vasco's crew thinks Daniel is getting way too arrogant. And Zach Lee, watching from the sidelines, has a flashback to when Daniel knocked him out with a single punch. The raw power our boy possesses is still fresh in his mind. The crowd is just in awe. The architecture guys see Daniel's fighting prowess and immediately view him as a threat. They start scheming, deciding they need to discipline him and put him back in his place. A plan to take down our boy is already in the works. Meanwhile, the fashion department isn't letting it go either. They corner Daniel and demand to know if he really went to a host bar. He tries to deny it, but eventually he has no choice but to show them the club's business card. And just like that, the secret is out. A freshman working at an escort bar. The news spreads like wildfire through the school, even reaching the teachers. Everyone is staring at Daniel, whispering and judging him. He's the center of attention again, but this time, it's for all the wrong reasons. The teacher tells Daniel to come to his office after school. But before that can even happen, Vasco sees Daniel with a bloody nose, assumes he got into a fight, and decides to intervene. In his own twisted way of straightening him out, Vasco throws a punch. The punch lands, and Daniel's nose starts bleeding. That's the last straw. A lifetime of being hit, of being bullied. It all comes rushing back. He's been hit in his old body, and now he's getting hit in his new one. He's done being a punching bag. "You're hitting me again," he thinks, and something inside him snaps. Fueled by pure rage, Daniel unleashes the fighting techniques his body instinctively knows. He and Vasco are trading blows, a perfectly matched pair of titans. The students watching are in complete shock. This is a real fight. Now it's on, Daniel declares. The fight is brutal. Every punch, every kick is thrown with killing intent. Daniel's body is a machine, blocking Vasco's powerful strikes and returning them with equal force. His eyes are burning with a defiant fire. Daniel goes for the Brazilian kick again, but this time, Vasco blocks it. Looks like the infamous Vasco isn't all talk. These two are on a whole other level. This is a true battle of monsters. Just as the fight reaches its peak, a senior steps in and breaks it up. He warns them not to cause trouble, but they'll have to answer to the upperclassmen. It seems there's a whole hierarchy of fighters at this school we haven't even seen yet. The fight is over, but the rivalry has just begun. Vasco leaves with a threat. Just you wait. As for Daniel, the adrenaline wears off, and the exhaustion from the fight, combined with the alcohol, hits him like a truck. He's so tired, so sleepy. Meanwhile, over at the hair salon where Eli Jang works, he gets a surprise visit. Daniel walks in with one of the host club regulars. Eli is shocked to overhear that this handsome new guy is actually an escort. The pieces are starting to click together in a very weird way. Eli can't wrap his head around it. This transfer student who's shaking up the whole school is a host. He starts to see Daniel in a completely new light. And who else is there to witness this revelation? None other than Crystal, who is equally stunned by the news. Eli looks at Daniel, completely intrigued. He's handsome and a good fighter. So why is he working as an escort, he wonders? Is he on the side of the good-looking, or something else? Daniel is becoming a bigger and bigger mystery. Daniel feels himself about to pass out. He musters up the last of his strength to try and talk to Crystal, but his body is at its limit. Elsewhere, Eli is getting hassled by a group of girls because he refuses to give them his number. Still running on that host club adrenaline, Daniel sees Eli getting bothered and instinctively steps in. But he ends up bumping into that same guy in sunglasses from before who warns him to stay out of it. Our boy just can't seem to avoid making new enemies. Daniel finally catches up to Crystal, asking her why she's always running from him. She's flustered and tells him to leave her alone. But just then, the alcohol finally takes its toll. Daniel's legs give out, and he starts to stumble. In the last second before he passes out, his body instinctively reaches out to break his fall and almost slaps Crystal right in the face. He yells, "Don't avoid me," as he collapses forward. But at the last possible moment, Eli dashes in and grabs Daniel's arm, stopping him. "What do you think you're doing?" Eli yells, but it's no use. Our boy is already losing consciousness. And poor Crystal is caught in the middle of this tense standoff between two incredibly handsome guys, completely bewildered. What is this situation, she thinks. Why am I here? The drama just follows her everywhere. Eli struggles to hold Daniel back, shocked by his raw strength. He demands to know what's going on, but Daniel is fading fast. He can feel it. He's reached his limit. The switch is about to happen. And with that, his perfect body goes limp and collapses. At that exact same instant, back in his rundown apartment, his original body jolts awake with a terrified scream. The connection was severed. He's been forcibly switched back. Little Daniel realizes the gravity of the situation. His other body is unconscious out there at school. He has to go find it now. Panicked and crying, he bolts out of his apartment and sprints towards the school. When little Daniel finally makes it to the scene, out of breath, he finds Eli and his friends standing over his unconscious body. They're baffled by the sudden appearance of this panting, overweight kid, even mocking him. Daniel anxiously asks if they've seen someone passed out around here. His search leads him to the non-smoking area, where he finds Vasco and the architecture crew. They have no idea who this kid is. Vasco seems to recognize him, but before anything can be said, he's called away. And just like that, Big Daniel suddenly wakes up, startling everyone around him. Crystal and Mira rush to his side to see if he's okay. It seems like his original body's proximity was enough to wake up his second one. Little Daniel is immensely relieved to see his other body is safe. He feels guilty and impulsive, apologizing profusely. Big Daniel, though confused, tells him it's okay. It's a surreal moment, like he's forgiving himself. Little Daniel is exhausted, so Big Daniel carries him to the nurse's office. And of course, Crystal sees the whole thing. The realization that these two Daniel Parks are living together is too much for her to process. Her mind is completely blown. Meanwhile, Eli is also pondering the strange connection between the two Daniels. He knows something is up, and back at her place, Crystal is replaying the events in her head. She's convinced there's a huge secret connecting them, and she's determined to figure it out. Eli approaches Crystal and, to her surprise, gives her his phone number, telling her to call if she needs anything. She's confused by his sudden kindness, unaware that he's just using her as a way to get closer to Daniel's secret. Unbeknownst to them all, Crystal's father, the chairman of a massive corporation, has also been keeping tabs on Daniel. But even his surveillance team has never seen the two Daniels together. The mystery just keeps getting deeper and deeper. Back with our boy, that obsessed rich client from the host club shows up again. She's not only paid off the fines he incurred, but has also brought him a gift, a brand new luxury car. But wait, there's more. She tells him to open the rice cooker she also brought. And inside, it's stuffed with cash. Stacks and stacks of it. "If you date me, it's all yours," she says. The sheer audacity. Everyone is just staring, completely stunned by this blatant display of wealth. Little Daniel takes this windfall and calls his mom. He tells her he's found a way to make money and that he'll take care of her from now on. Hearing her son sound so grown-up and responsible brings tears to her eyes. For the first time, our boy understands the true meaning of providing for his family. The next day, Daniel comes to school wearing the new clothes Jay gave him. Jay silently admires him, thinking he looks like a professional model. But the real shock comes when Daniel sees that Jay's dogs are wearing outfits made from the exact same expensive fabric. That's when it hits him. Jay isn't just rich, he's ridiculously, unbelievably wealthy. Discovering Jay's true status makes Daniel feel a little uneasy. He doesn't know how to act around his friend who has been quietly giving him the world. The gap between them suddenly feels immense, and it's weighing on him. Meanwhile, little Daniel is on his way to Vasco's birthday party. Look at our boy. He's so happy, feeling like he finally has real friends. He's just hoping there's no alcohol involved. He's so done with that stuff. As he's lost in thought, his dog, Inu, starts barking, probably telling him to hurry up. And speak of the devil, Inu suddenly bolts, chasing after a girl who's jogging ahead and bites her. Daniel gets a closer look and wait a minute. Is that Crystal? If Inu is here, that can only mean one thing. Yep, the dog's owner shows up too. And just like that, little Daniel and little Crystal meet under the most awkward circumstances. You can feel the social anxiety radiating off both of them. The internal monologues are going crazy right now. He wants to talk to her, but thinks all girls hate this body. She wants to talk to him, but thinks all guys are shallow. Little do they know, they're both thinking the exact same thing. Finally, Daniel musters up the courage to ask if she's also going to the party, and they decide to walk together. But when they finally arrive, everyone is in for a shock. Vasco's birthday party is in a park? In the middle of winter? You gotta be kidding me. Even Jace can't believe how ridiculous this is. Everyone's worried that Big Daniel is freezing, but the birthday boy himself, Vasco, shows up with a huge smile and a party hat. They sing for him and bring out a monkey-faced cake. Okay, Vasco, your taste is unique. Big Daniel is just standing there with a deadpan expression, probably thinking, why did I even come to this lame party? But he forces a smile when he gets his present. And then, when it's time to blow out the candles, a huge gust of wind does it for him. The secondhand embarrassment is real, and Daniel's face says it all. Now it's little Daniel's turn to give his gifts. He gives Vasco a photo of Inu's puppies, a rare Hero Man action figure, and a good luck rock. Vasco is so touched, he's practically in tears. Now that's what you call a thoughtful friend. Big Daniel, on the other hand, is completely detached from the celebration. He receives a gift, but his face is just cold, almost annoyed. People are noticing his attitude. To liven things up, someone suggests a pairing game, but Daniel is not having it. He just wants to get this over with and go somewhere warm. Vasco is having the time of his life playing the game, but Zach can't stand it, thinking it's childish. Words are exchanged, and next thing you know, fists are flying. The birthday party just turned into a brawl. Everyone is freezing there but's off, but the heat between Zach and Vasco is escalating. One thinks the other is immature, the other thinks his friend is being a party pooper. The tension is about to snap. In the heat of the moment, Zach grabs Vasco's gift bag and, with a powerful swing, tragedy strikes. The Hero Man figure and the lucky rock Daniel gave him go flying straight into the freezing river. Vasco is in shock. His most precious gifts are just gone. Without a second thought, Vasco dives right into the river. He's frantically searching for his gifts, completely ignoring the bone-chilling water. Everyone on the shore is panicking. This guy is literally risking his life. The scene descends into absolute chaos. They try to pull him out, but he's too strong, fighting them off. This has escalated way beyond a simple party fight. It's a full-blown emergency. And of course, the news crews show up, framing this as some kind of violent teen incident. When the reporters try to interview the witnesses, everyone is tongue-tied. How do you even begin to explain this mess? Seeing Vasco risk everything, Zach is overwhelmed with guilt. He lets out a yell and jumps into the river to help. Finally, he feels something at the bottom, and he pulls it up triumphantly, shouting, I found it. It's the Hero Man figure. The figure is safe, but the lucky rock is still missing. Vasco refuses to get out of the water. Just then, there's another commotion on the riverbank. It looks like someone else just fell in. It's little Daniel. He got pushed in during the chaos and, not being a strong swimmer, started to drown. But at the last second, Inu the dog becomes a hero, diving in and pulling him to safety. That was way too close. Meanwhile, a handsome guy on a bicycle rides past and sees the whole scene, a soaked little Daniel being tended to by little Crystal. He's totally confused. Who are these people? Is that her boyfriend? What is he doing here? Yep, you guessed it. That's Crystal's perfect body. Desperate to get Vasco out of the water, Jace has a brilliant idea. He picks up a random rock from the riverbed and pretends it's the original. Everyone else plays along, cheering for the good luck rock. Vasco finally comes ashore, and everyone breathes a sigh of relief. But when Daniel sees the rock, his blood runs cold. The good luck engraving, it's the exact one his mom gave him. Vasco hands the rock back to Daniel, telling him to treasure it. It all clicks into place for Daniel at that moment. Someone intentionally swapped his personal lucky rock with the gift for Vasco. He knows exactly who did it, and he is furious. The whole ridiculous incident makes the evening news, painting them as a bunch of delinquent teens. Somewhere else, a certain blonde pretty boy watches the broadcast with an amused smirk on his face. After the party fiasco, Mira and Zoe grab a bite to eat. Zoe scrolls through her phone, finds a picture of handsome Daniel, and secretly sets it as her background. The fangirling is real, folks. Our boy's charm is undeniable. Let's switch gears to a different storyline. Jiho. He's getting extorted by the school bullies again. They're demanding $50, calling it a loan. Jiho is cornered by these punks, who keep asking him for money to fund their gambling habits. Turns out, these guys are addicted to illegal gambling and are using Jiho as their personal ATM. Duke tries to intervene, but Jiho stops him, pretending he's just loaning money to his buddies. The denial is strong with this one. Jace sees what's happening. He knows Jiho is lying through his teeth, but he doesn't call him out. He just quietly warns him to stay away from that crowd. While working his convenience store job, little Daniel runs into the same group. They're trying to shake down another student, bragging about knowing all the tricks to win. Daniel recognizes one of their jackets. It belongs to one of his old bullies. The next day, Big Daniel is heading out and bumps right into the leader of that same bully crew. The guy is shocked to see handsome Daniel and acts surprisingly friendly, like they're old pals. It turns out Big Daniel also worked at this convenience store and was co-workers with this guy, John. John's broke and tries to pull Daniel into his illegal gambling scheme to make some quick cash. John brags about how popular this type of betting is with teens and claims he knows an insider at the website who gives him tips. Zoe, who happens to be there, seems intrigued by the whole thing. And speak of the devil, Jiho and the bullies walk in. John eagerly introduces handsome Daniel to them, and the atmosphere gets super awkward. Jiho has no idea that the cool guy he looks up to is acquainted with these thugs. Daniel plays along, but he has a plan. He lost money on this site before. In front of Jiho, he pretends to use insider info to win big, turning the $50 he loaned John into a $500 payout. Seeing is believing. Jiho and his friends are completely stunned. Daniel strikes while the iron is hot, inviting them to make some easy money and showing them the illegal betting website. Following Daniel's guidance, they start signing up. The website looks super sketchy and even asks for their bank account numbers, making them hesitate. But seeing how casually Daniel does it, they let their guard down. Daniel intentionally guides Jiho to bet on one outcome while he bets on the opposite. And what do you know? Daniel loses and Jiho's stake doubles. Just like that, Jiho is hooked, line, and sinker. Jiho is still skeptical but follows Daniel's lead, wondering, does he really know? And boom, he wins again. His $50 just turned into $200. And the crazy part? The payout is in his account in just 25 minutes. Jiho rushes to an ATM and withdraws the cash. It's real. Holding the money, his hands tremble, and a look of pure, ecstatic greed spreads across his face. He's completely addicted. After school, the classroom is filled with students huddled around their phones, anxiously waiting for the betting results. Some win, some lose, and the room is filled with cries of frustration and cheers of joy. Jiho has become the betting king because he has Daniel's insider info. He's treating everyone to coffee, basking in the attention. Meanwhile, Daniel just watches coldly. His plan is proceeding exactly as he intended. Daniel's insider info actually comes from his convenience store co-worker, who is one of the site operators. He introduces Jiho to his boss, a guy named Jake Kim. Jiho is so intimidated by Jake's appearance that he's scared speechless. This Jake Kim guy looks like serious trouble. But surprisingly, Jake is super nice to Jiho, even giving him a wad of cash as payment. Jiho is flattered, thinking he's met a genuinely good person. Jake then invites him out for a drink after work. Little Daniel happens to be in the store and senses something is off. He tries to warn Jiho, but Jake coolly interrupts, asking what Jiho's been up to lately. Jiho, flustered, lies about his activities. Jake's attention shifts to little Daniel. He seems to recognize him as one of Vasco's friends. He warns Daniel not to get involved, and the tension between them is palpable. Later that night, Jake takes Jiho out drinking. Jiho gets drunk after just a few sips and starts acting cocky. All the while, Jake just watches him with that signature, unreadable smile. And who do they run into on the street? The very same bullies who used to torment Jiho. Jiho freezes in fear, but Jake greets them calmly, as if they're old friends. Fueled by liquid courage, Jiho starts puffing out his chest, bragging that Jake and handsome Daniel are his close friends, his backup. He thinks this is finally his moment to stand up for himself. The bullies don't buy his act for a second. They mock him for being a pathetic loser who clings to powerful people. Right in front of Jake, they demand even more money from Jiho. While Jiho is still trying to explain, Jake suddenly strikes, knocking the lead bully to the ground with a single punch. He looks down at him coldly and says, "He's with me." Jiho is absolutely stunned. He looks at Jake's back, feeling like he's finally found a true protector. In his mind, Jake is a hero, someone who is genuinely on his side. The poor kid has no idea what he's getting into. After that night, Jiho's ego inflates to massive proportions. He starts buying the most expensive lunch at the convenience store every day, showing off his winnings and his new gear. He's completely lost in the vanity that money brings. Without Daniel's insider tips, Jiho starts betting on his own. He thinks he's figured out the system, dreaming of making it big by himself. But reality is about to hit him hard. He starts winning a little, but losing a lot more. The classic gambler's fallacy takes over. He's convinced he can win it all back on the next bet. The site even sends him prompts, luring him in deeper, telling him there's no risk. He's completely lost control. Before long, all his winnings are gone. He tells himself it's just about a bad luck, that if he just had more money, he could make a comeback. The addiction has taken root deep inside him. Desperate for more funds, he starts depositing his own money into the site. He stays up all night, winning and losing in an endless cycle, until finally, the $500 he deposited is completely wiped out. Having lost everything, Jiho walks through school like a zombie. All that money vanished in a flash. Now, only one thought consumes his mind. If he just had a little more cash, he's sure he could win it all back. Just then, his old bullies show up, looking for another handout. But this time, Jiho isn't the same pushover. He coldly tells him to get lost. He has more important things to worry about, like getting more money. Backed into a corner, a terrible idea pops into Jiho's head. He remembers the tuition money his mom gave him for his academies. He needs money. He needs it now. He lies to his mom, telling her he needs to sign up for 3 academies, which will cost $1,500. He rationalizes it to himself. He'll just use the money to win back his losses and pay her back immediately. This time, he convinces himself he can't lose. But that life-saving money disappears in an instant, too. He's lost all of his mother's hard-earned savings. With nowhere left to turn, his eyes fall on the convenience store's cash register. He considers stealing the money while his coworker is in the bathroom. Meanwhile, the story cuts to a different scene. In a gym, a gorgeous woman is working out. It's Crystal. A guy tries to hit on her, but gets brutally shut down with an icy stare. Turns out, Crystal's father has people looking for a body double for her, someone to handle things she can't. And the person they've set their sights on? None other than Big Daniel. Let's check back with the gambling site operators. Jake and Daniel's coworker are splitting the profits. It's revealed that the whole thing was a setup from the start. The website is a scam, the insider info is fake, and they're just preying on the greed of new players to bleed them dry. Having lost everything, a frantic Jiho finds Daniel and begs him for money, claiming he lost a friend's cash. At the same time, Jake is about to call Jiho to tell him the game is over. Jiho's fate is hanging by a thread. What will happen to Jiho? Can he pull back from the brink? We'll find out next time. All right, picking up right where we left off. Our boy Daniel is fuming at his convenience store job. And get this, for the longest time, money's been disappearing from the register every single day. But suddenly, today the count is perfect. His coworkers are baffled, wondering if they should report it. Little do they know, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Meanwhile, let's rewind a bit to see exactly how Jiho got himself into this mess. He's at a shady loan shark's office, heart pounding out of his chest. To get the loan, he needs his dad's ID and the house deed. But of course, he can't use his real dad. So he finds a homeless man to pose for him. And now, they're trying to pass off this fake ID. The loan shark is skeptical, man. The only thing that matches is the glasses. But somehow, they actually buy it. So the plan is set. Jiho is putting his family's entire house on the line as collateral to get this loan. His friend is trying to talk him out of it, telling him it's way too dangerous. But Jiho is completely blinded by desperation. He's convinced this is the only way to fix his problems. And just like that, the deal is done. They hand him a massive stack of cash, $30,000. Well, technically $26,000 after they take their interest right off the top. Look at Jiho's face. He's never seen so much real money in his life. He's so naive, thinking this is his ticket out. But the loan shark immediately lays down the law. He makes it crystal clear. This house is mine now. You pay me back on time, or you lose it. The reality of the situation finally hits Jiho like a ton of bricks. He's panicking, thinking about the money he owes Daniel, his mom. He's in way over his head. Meanwhile, our boy Daniel, in his handsome body, is so worried about Jiho he goes straight to his house. Jiho's mom is super sweet, thinking he's one of her son's cool new friends. It's here that Daniel finds out Jiho's been lying about going to an academy. He's not at school, he's not home. So where the heck is he? Turns out, Jiho is hiding out in some abandoned amusement park, glued to his phone. He's using that loan money to gamble, obsessed with winning back what he lost. His first thought is to pay back Daniel. He's so deep in the hole, he can't see he's just digging himself deeper. And surprise, surprise, first bet, he loses. $1,000 gone just like that. Jiho completely collapses, absolutely devastated. But he's already trying to rationalize it, thinking, phew, good thing I only bet 1,000. Bro, that is not the right takeaway here. But the gambler's fallacy kicks in hard. It's okay, he tells himself. I still have plenty of money. He goes again, praying for an odd number this time, and boom, it's even. Again, the look of pure despair on his face says it all. 2 losses in a row. $3,000 have just vanished. He's getting desperate. Third time's the charm, right? The odds are in my favor. He decides to bet another $3,000. All he needs is to be right just once. He is completely hooked. The result? Even. Again. He lost. He's now down $6,000, more than the debt he was trying to pay off in the first place. He's trembling, his mind racing. He just can't understand why he keeps losing. Jiho is having a full-on meltdown. Should he bet $10,000 to win it all back in one go? Or what if he loses again? His debt would skyrocket. Meanwhile, the scammer running the site is just chilling, watching him squirm. Rookies always lose their nerve at this point, he smirks. Because, of course, the whole thing is rigged. The operators are literally deciding his fate from a control room. They're debating whether to let him win a little just to keep him from giving up. They're playing him like a fiddle, planning to bleed him dry. So they throw him a bone and let him win. The rush is instantaneous. He feels like he's cracked the code, even regretting that he didn't bet more. He has no idea this feeling, this tiny victory, is the beginning of his complete ruin. After that one small win, he goes on another losing streak. He's now lost a staggering $16,000. He's desperate for a higher payout, a way to win it all back fast. And that's when he spots it, a soccer match, Spain versus Thailand. The payout for Thailand winning is 10-1. Without a second thought, Jiho goes all in, betting his remaining $10,000. This is it, his last hope. He's betting everything on a massive underdog. And then the impossible happens. Thailand wins. A 10 times payout. His $10,000 just turned into $100,000. Jiho can't believe it. He's screaming with joy, laughing hysterically. He thinks he's just turned his entire life around. Jiho is on top of the world, already planning how he'll pay off the loan and give Daniel double what he owes. He sprints to an ATM to withdraw his massive winnings, and the balance is 0. He's frozen. What happened to his $100,000? Frantically, he runs back to their secret hideout in the amusement park, but it's completely empty. The scammers took the money and vanished. It was all a setup from the very beginning. At the same time, Vasco and Jace from the Burn Knuckles have also been investigating this illegal gambling ring. They've discovered just how dangerous these guys are. Jace did his homework and found out the guy in charge is way more dangerous than they thought. He's trying to warn Vasco off, but you know Vasco, he doesn't back down from a fight. Completely out of options, Jiho makes the dumbest move possible. He goes back to the loan shark. He offers him a deal. Help me find the scammers and get my $100,000 back, and I'll give you half. My dude, you're trying to make a deal with the devil. The loan shark is not amused. You think this is some kind of detective agency. He decks Jiho and reveals he knew all along. You really thought I wouldn't notice you used a homeless guy to pose as your dad? The whole charade is exposed. He couldn't care less about Jiho getting scammed. He just wants his money. He threatens Jiho, telling him to pay up immediately or he'll go after his house, his friends, and his family. The pressure is immense. $30,000 in principal, plus $6,000 in interest. One day late, and his house gets auctioned off. This is it. Jiho completely breaks down, sobbing on the floor. He's hit absolute rock bottom. But just then, an unexpected player enters the scene. Handsome Daniel. He stares down the group of homeless men who were part of the scam. His presence alone is incredibly intimidating, and they all feel the pressure. Jiho spots the man who posed as his father and loses it, grabbing him in a desperate rage. But in that moment, the homeless man recognizes Daniel, and his face shows pure shock. Seeing Daniel's face, the homeless man starts screaming for the police. The others just laugh it off, but his reaction confirms one thing. There's way more to handsome Daniel than meets the eye. It turns out they'd set a trap, but they seriously underestimated our boy. Daniel handles them with ease. He might be banged up, but he's standing tall. Covered in mud and utterly defeated, Jiho runs back to the convenience store and collapses in front of little Daniel. Crying, he confesses everything, promising to pay it all back even if he has to go to jail. The co-workers are completely stunned. Hearing his story, one of the girls at the store decides to help. She makes a call to someone she knows can handle this kind of situation. The person she calls? A genius hacker who goes by Koji. This purple-haired kid might look like a slacker, but he's one of the 10 geniuses being cultivated by the chairman. He's the key to turning this whole mess around. Back with handsome Daniel. The same homeless men who tried to jump him are now bowing respectfully, calling him sir. The status flip is insane. The mystery around Daniel's true identity just keeps getting deeper. And who should show up but Jake Kim, the guy running the gambling scam that started all this. He sees Daniel and freezes. It's clear they know each other. You can just feel the tension building. Turns out Jake Kim is the leader of a crew called Big Deal. The conversation between him and Daniel is dripping with history and tension. These two definitely have past. Just to make things more chaotic, Vasco's crew, the Burn Knuckles, also arrives on the scene. Now we got a full-blown standoff between two major crews. Jake's guys are arrogant, acting like they own the place. Everyone is on edge, ready to throw down at any second. Jake demands to know why Daniel is getting involved for these little kids. Daniel's response? This is our spot. Cutting back to the convenience store, our genius hacker Koji has set up shop and is getting to work. He's analyzing little Daniel, making a chillingly accurate comment that he's never seen Daniel's other body, which sends a shiver down his spine. This Koji kid is a freak of nature. Just through observation and analysis, he's on the verge of figuring out Daniel's massive secret. He's clever as a fox, and Daniel knows he has to be extremely careful around him. He even calls out the girl from the convenience store, asking if the person she likes is the handsome guy, our other Daniel. His analytical power is so sharp, it's genuinely terrifying everyone in the room. After confirming all the details, Koji puts his plan into motion. His goal is simple. Exploit the scammer's own system to take back every single cent they stole. Right on cue, handsome Daniel arrives at the convenience store. Koji lights up. He's here, he announces. Everyone turns to the door, eager to see the legendary handsome guy in person. Meanwhile, back on the streets, Jace has been taken down by one of Jake's men. Even though he's outmatched, he's still trying to protect Vasco, holding on with everything he's got. Jace knows he can't win, but he refuses to give up. He's determined to secure a victory for Vasco and the Burn Knuckles. The loyalty is real. After dealing with Jace, Jake's man is about to leave when he realizes something's wrong. Back at their base, which is now Daniel's convenience store, Koji's team has just smashed all their equipment. Koji sits in front of his setup, a confident smile playing on his lips. He hits the enter key and declares, time to start the counterattack. Out on the rain-slicked streets, a mysterious man stops Jake Kim in his tracks. This is Gun, the chairman's #1 bodyguard and one of the strongest characters in the series. His appearance immediately puts Jake on edge. Gun drops a bombshell on Jake, telling him he used to be the top candidate to be the next successor, but not anymore. The implication is huge, hinting at a deep and complicated past between Jake and the chairman. It seems the chairman has a princess who needs protecting, and Jake's unauthorized actions have broken the rules. Gun is here to enforce them. Jake absolutely snaps. He's been working his ass off, even running an illegal betting ring, all to prove himself worthy of being the successor. He rips his shirt off, revealing a massive dragon tattoo, ready to fight Gun to the death. Gun just scoffs. He tells Jake that his little side hustle is pocket change compared to the chairman's real business empire. He's completely unimpressed. Jake reveals he's been training specifically to fight Gun. He knew this confrontation was coming and prepared to face a monster. He has no other choice but to fight. Meanwhile, Jake's clueless underlings are out having a nice dinner, bragging about how easy it is to make money. They have no idea their entire operation is being dismantled and their boss is fighting for his life. Back at the store, Koji is giving little Daniel a harsh lecture, telling him he's too naive and doesn't know how to handle people. Daniel, in turn, is trying to figure out who this kid is and how he knows so much. Koji lays out the classic scammer's playbook. Let the mark win a little to build their confidence. The lure, before taking everything. He notes that Jake was so arrogant, he didn't even bother giving Jiho a lure. As Koji works his magic, the gambling ring's bank accounts start acting up. Their money is being siphoned away, and they're starting to notice. Jake's crew is staring at their phones in disbelief. The numbers are fluctuating wildly. Money is disappearing and reappearing. They have no idea what's happening. This is a high-level cyber attack, and they are completely outmatched. They see that their accounts have been charged with points they never deposited. They're completely baffled by Koji's unorthodox methods. Koji explains his plan. The scammers use fake bank accounts, which means they can only deposit and withdraw cash via ATMs. Koji is about to exploit that very loophole. He discovered they used the cheapest, most insecure matching program for their transactions to save money. This gives him the opening he needs to send fake deposit records. Koji sends out his spies, the convenience store crew, to the ATMs. They create fake deposit requests, tricking the system into thinking money has been sent and crediting their gambling accounts with points. When Jake's guys see $1,000 worth of points pop up, they just assume some new sucker made a deposit, completely oblivious. Back at his command center, Koji smirks. Don't be shocked. This is only the start. Those points are just cyber money. Koji's next step is to use those fake points to request real cash payouts, effectively draining the scammer's actual bank accounts. He has the most harmless-looking member of the crew go and make the withdrawal. Because the amounts are small, neither the bank manager nor the scammers will suspect a thing. It's a perfect plan. They'll just keep repeating the process, make fake deposits, get points, cash out real money, over and over, until the scammer's fake account is completely empty. Meanwhile, Jake's men are relaxing in a sauna, totally unaware they're about to go bankrupt. Finally, the scammers realize something is wrong. They try to process a transaction, but get an insufficient funds error. It dawns on them. They've been hacked. They track down one of their money mules and torture him for information, trying to figure out where the money went. But it's too late. Koji has already secured the funds. Back at the convenience store, Koji's team is ready to clear out. Everything went according to plan. The scammers not only lost their money, but will likely end up in jail for assault. Koji returns the $30,000 to Jiho, keeping the rest as his fee. And what does he give Daniel for dinner? $10. What a cheapskate. But hey, he got the job done. After the whole ordeal, it seems Jiho has learned his lesson. He's back to being a diligent student, and his parents are overjoyed to see him getting up for school on time. The remnants of Big Deal are hauled off to jail. Vasco and Jace can rest easy knowing they helped take down a dangerous criminal organization. Jiho's parents are so happy with his turnaround that they pack him a special lunch. It looks like everything is finally heading in the right direction. But wait, the place he's going isn't school. It's a juvenile detention center. He got caught for his involvement in illegal gambling. And in this new environment, a whole new set of challenges awaits. Inside his new room at the detention center, the leader is handing out supplies. And who should be there but Daniel in yet another new body? The tattoos on his arm suggest this body also has a serious backstory. He vows to take someone down at all costs. And in the final scene, we cut to handsome Daniel on a soccer field, looking like a pro. But in his mind, little Daniel is screaming, I've never played soccer in my life. It seems even the perfect body has its limits. A brand new arc is about to begin, and we kick off a brand new arc. Back in the classroom, the entire school is buzzing about the upcoming sports day. Of course, Zoe is already making her moves on Daniel, even asking if Piggy can come hang out. If only she knew. Meanwhile, the other students are in a full-blown panic. With their ace runner Zach gone, they have no one for the big relay race. And just like that, all eyes turn to our boy Daniel. Everyone's hyping him up, saying he's as fast as Zach. But look at his face. He's having a complete meltdown inside. He's thinking me, an athlete. All he can remember is his old body running a 30-second 100-meter dash. But it's too late. They've already locked him in as the final runner. The pressure is on. As the gossip starts spreading about him, and Jay joining the relay, Daniel decides to put on his game face. Look at him, striding down the hall like he owns the place. The entire corridor goes silent. He walks right up to the gossipers and hits them with, "You looking at me? Is my face funny to you?" Whoa, our boy's got an edge now. He's faking it till he makes it, and the tension is palpable. And he just keeps doubling down. Daniel claims he's been in special training, and he's going to show everyone that he's a top-tier athlete. The confidence is just radiating off him, even if it's a total bluff. And with that bold declaration, BM, we're live at the 10th annual sports day. It's go time. The sports day kicks off with a massive party vibe. We've got a DJ spinning beats, and check it out. All the students are in these ridiculous animal onesies. The first event is the men's soccer match, fashion versus practical music. And who's that tearing up the field in a bear costume? It's Zachley. My man scores a goal and immediately starts bragging about being a soccer prodigy in elementary school. Classic Zach. Meanwhile, our boy Daniel is also on the field, and the fangirling from the fashion department is just off the charts. Look at him, dribbling the ball like a pro. He's an absolute natural. Even he doesn't know what he's doing, but his body is just showing off on its own. But inside, Daniel is having an existential crisis. Why am I here? I've never played soccer in my life. That doesn't stop the girls from the beauty department from swooning, though. They're already comparing him to their own department's heartthrob, Eli. Surrounded by admirers, Daniel's confidence comes roaring back as he asks, "Be honest. I'm better looking, right?" With all eyes on him, Daniel's mind is racing. What should I do? He flashes back to his only real experience with soccer, getting hit in the face with the ball at his old school. So, he makes a plan. Kick it towards the opponent's goal, as far away from me as possible. He recalls all the soccer manga and videos he's ever watched. It's like this new body instinctively knows all the right moves. He gets in a position, ready to put every ounce of power into this one fateful kick. And he shoots. The ball arcs perfectly through the air. Everyone on the field is completely stunned, their jaws on the floor. The goalie didn't even see it coming. A long-distance shot, and it's a goal. Daniel himself can't believe it. Me? I scored. Daniel is officially the star of the show now. Girls from every department are screaming his name. Look at this. Even the seniors are wearing freshman costumes just to cheer him on. The perfect body privilege is real. Next up is the tug of war. The old rivals, vocal and dance versus practical music, are facing off. Duke, in his bear costume, gives it his all, pulling his team to victory. Look at the faces on the losing team's girls. The salt is real. Now it's the fashion department's turn, but their opponent is the architecture department, led by Vasco and his crew. They're basically monsters. The fashion team is ready to give up before it even starts. But then, Jace approaches Daniel with a secret plan. And Jace's brilliant plan is for Daniel to wear the dinosaur costume designed by the architecture freshman. Look at this thing. It's so embarrassing. Daniel plays it cool, saying it's great, but you know he's dying of shame on the inside. The secondhand embarrassment is strong with this one. Zach sees this ridiculous display and can't help but laugh. He decides to challenge Daniel to a one-on-one showdown to see who's the strongest. You can tell from his face, he's treating this as a battle for Myra's affection. A quick scene transition as we head into the next chapter. Riding his trusty dinosaur, Daniel thinks back to that incredible goal he scored. He started to realize this body possesses some seriously superhuman power. He accepts the challenge, ready to go head-to-head with Vasco. And the match begins. It's Vasco versus Daniel on a dinosaur in an epic tug-of-war. The rain starts to fall, making the scene even more dramatic. Both of them are pulling with everything they've got, neither willing to give an inch. Daniel is completely shocked. Even with all his strength, his opponent isn't budging at all. He can't believe it. Is it possible for this perfect body to actually lose a contest of pure strength? Vasco unleashes his full power with a mighty roar and rips the entire basketball hoop out of the ground. Turns out Jace tried to play a trick by tying the rope to the pole. And just like that, the fashion department is disqualified for cheating. What a hilarious fail. After the match, Vasco's rivals show up, a group of guys in military camo. They look like they're looking for trouble, and they clearly have some beef with Vasco. Next event, smashing the gourd. The practical music kids in their animal suits are giving it their all, while Vasco and his architecture crew just stand below, looking completely unimpressed. Their cocky attitude is seriously ticking off the other team. When it's the architecture department's turn, Vasco does an insane split and then smashes the gourd with a single punch. The power, the flexibility, this guy is a monster. The entire crowd is left speechless once again. Zach sees Mira cheering for Daniel and gets consumed by jealousy. He rushes in to smash the gourd himself, but ends up colliding with Daniel. And in an instant, Daniel's body instinctively reacts, sending Zach flying. Zach technically wins, but he's not happy about it. Daniel, on the other hand, is left wondering about the true nature of this body's power. Meanwhile, the camo guys start harassing Vasco, clearly annoyed by his holier-than-thou attitude. The leader of the camo crew, a guy in sunglasses, seems to have a special hatred for Vasco. He starts throwing punches without a word of warning, mocking him and trying to get a rise out of him. His lackeys join in on the fun, grabbing one of Vasco's friends. This guy is a classic bully, getting his kicks from picking on people he thinks are weaker than him. The sunglasses guy unleashes a torrent of insults on one of Vasco's heavier friends, saying just the sight of him is nauseating. His words are just brutal, a straight-up personal attack. When the friend argues back that he did nothing wrong, Sunglasses just decks him right in the face. Even his own crew is shocked. This dude has zero chill. Scene transition. The conflict is about to escalate. Bloody and beaten, the friend keeps mumbling, "I did nothing wrong." This just enrages Sunglasses even more, and he winds up for another punch, attacking someone weaker for no reason. What a scumbag. But just as he's about to strike, a figure steps in the way. It's Vasco. He takes the punch for his friend. The hero has finally entered the battle. Vasco looks at his beaten friend with a determined gaze and says, "I like you." It's a declaration of solidarity and protection. He's not going to let anyone mess with his people. Vasco confronts the sunglasses guy, his aura radiating pure power. He tells him straight up, "I'm not a fool, and I'm going to beat you." The fight is on. Sunglasses makes the first move, but Vasco is quicker, landing a clean kick. His crew is stunned. They never expected this big dude to be so agile. The guy tries to stomp on Vasco's foot to pin him down, but Vasco's strength is insane. He doesn't even budge. It's at this moment that Sunglasses realizes he's fighting a true monster. He tries to take off Vasco's glasses, thinking it's some kind of weakness. But Vasco's hand clamps down on his arm like a vice. He's completely overpowered. This is what absolute strength looks like. The bully tries to use his judo skills, but Vasco gives him no openings. In the face of overwhelming power, technique is useless. Vasco executes a powerful throw, slamming the guy into the pavement. That's gotta hurt. A complete and utter takedown. It wasn't even a contest. After the fight, Sunglasses loses his glasses and panics, desperately telling his goons to find them. Looks like the glasses were his real source of confidence. Vasco, ever the cool guy, just walks away. Vasco even shares his insane training regimen. 100 pull-ups, 100 push-ups, 100 squats, and a 10 kilometers run. Every single day. Bro thinks he's one punch man. And with that, we cut back to the track, where the final relay race is about to begin. The final leg of the relay, and Daniel is up against Sakle. Turns out Zach is running for another class, just to show off in front of Mira. His entire class is booing him, calling him a traitor. The drama is delicious. Mira is shocked to see this. Zach is willing to be branded a traitor just to beat Daniel for her. The competitive spirit is strong in this one. Mira decides she's going to take care of Daniel herself. The first few runners hand off the batons. Eli from the beauty department and Jay from fashion are neck and neck, leaving everyone else in the dust. Now it all comes down to the final leg. The baton is about to be passed to Daniel and Zach. Daniel takes the baton, and though he's nervous, his body just explodes with speed. He's sprinting like a champion. He can't even believe it himself. Is this really me? Zach and Daniel are like bullets, running neck and neck. Zach only has one thought in his mind. With Mira watching, I will never lose. I can't let it happen this time. The determination is real. This is the climax of a sports day. The ultimate showdown between Daniel and Zach, and the crowd is going absolutely wild. They're both running like real pros. Fueled by his promise, Zach vows he will not lose again, not in front of Mira. And we flash back to Zach and Myra's childhood. Mira calls her teddy bear her best friend, and a jealous little Zach asks, "Then what about me?" When she accidentally drops the bear, Zach dives to save it without a second thought. Another time, Mira had an appendicitis attack, and it was Zach who ran like the wind, carrying her all the way to the hospital, saving her life. Since they were kids, Zach has always been there to protect her in his own way. Scene transition, the race continues. Back in the present, Zach's mind is filled with thoughts of Mira. But he hasn't trained seriously since middle school, and his stamina is starting to fail. In the end, Daniel pulls ahead and overtakes him. The race is over. Daniel won. Zach collapses on the ground, completely exhausted. But then Mira walks over and tells him, "You were amazing." Even though he lost the race, in her eyes, he'll always be her hero. The final event of the day is the talent show, and it's Daniel and Duke teaming up again. Duke's face is still swollen from being bullied earlier, but he's pushing through for the performance. What a tough kid. On stage, Duke's rap and Daniel's vocals create the perfect harmony, setting the crowd on fire once again. Their performance is a massive hit, and the cheers are deafening. However, Zach is sitting alone on the steps, feeling completely defeated. He can't accept that he lost to Daniel in front of Mira. When he sees Mira show up with Daniel, his sense of failure hits an all-time high. Mira asks him why he isn't at the after-party. He just says he lost, that he's trash, and that he wants to be alone. Seeing him so dejected, Mira is left speechless. Just then, Daniel accidentally drops his phone. That's the key to switching bodies. Without a second thought, he dives off the stairs, trying to catch it mid-air. He misses the phone, but in a split-second reaction, Zach snatches Myra's little bear keychain out of the air. Once again, Zach's actions have protected something precious to Mira. Mira sincerely thanks Zach, telling him he's amazing. But to Zach, it just sounds like pity. He takes out his frustration on Daniel, calling him pathetic for not even being able to hold onto his things. Scene transition. The mood of the story is starting to shift. Night falls, and it begins to rain. Mira left her phone in the classroom and is too scared to go back alone, so Zach accompanies her. This spooky setup feels like something is about to happen. Another transition, the suspense is building. Turns out, there's a scary urban legend at their school. Mira asks Zach if he's not afraid, and then begins to tell the story of the picture ghost. The legend says that in the old storage room at the end of the hall, there's a portrait of a woman. After a tragic life, her vengeful spirit now wanders the halls on rainy nights, looking for her lost child and killing anyone she finds. They say if you sign your name on the portrait in red ink, your wish will come true. Zack claims he doesn't believe in ghosts, but he agrees to do it to help his friend make a wish. Such a loyal guy. Vasco shows up too, and he's a true believer, wanting to make a wish for his cats. Seeing how serious Vasco is, Zack feels like he can't back down and reluctantly accepts the mission. The hallway is pitch black when suddenly a bolt of lightning flashes. Zack acts tough, but his body betrays him. He's so scared he starts cursing. The contrast is just hilarious. He fumbles his way to the storage room. Inside, it's completely dark and the lights won't turn on. The horror movie atmosphere is cranked up to 11. You just know a jump scare is coming. Just as he's about to sign his name, a terrifying face with red eyes appears in a mirror. A classic horror trope, but man, is it effective. Zack is scared out of his mind, screaming and flailing wildly in the dark. He somehow manages to sign his name and escapes, almost blacking out from fear. You gotta feel for the guy. The next day, Zack brags to everyone that he completed the mission, insisting he wasn't scared at all. After Mira finds her phone, the group decides to go to the storage room to check his work. The story of Zack's haunted adventure spreads throughout the school. When they all get to the storage room, they find something creepy. The woman in the portrait has her eyes closed. But here's the real shocker. His signature isn't on the painting. Instead, Zack's name is written on the window next to it. That ghostly face he saw was just a reflection, and the ghost turns out to be just another student wearing a face mask and stretching outside the window. The mystery is solved, but poor Zack was so terrified that he literally wet his pants. So much for his tough guy reputation. Finally, we cut back to little Daniel. Lately, he's been feeling like someone is watching him, specifically when he's in this body. The feeling is unsettling. As he heads to an audition, little does he know that danger is lurking just around the corner. Meanwhile, somewhere on the internet, someone is scrolling through a social media feed. It's a blur of fashion, influencers, and cool poses, definitely a talent scout on the hunt for the next big thing. And just like that, a decision is made. Let's go meet him. Cut to the next day at Daniel's high school, where a fancy car pulls up, immediately catching everyone's attention. You could just feel the buzz in the air. Something big is about to go down. Out steps a man looking all cool and professional. He announces he's from Pete J Entertainment and is here to scout someone for an audition. The moment he drops the company name, the whole crowd loses it. And who's he talking to? None other than our boy, Daniel Park. He's trying to get him to audition for PTJ, the same agency that manages superstars like DG and Aru. The onlookers can't believe their eyes. Is he begging Daniel Park right now? The hype is real. But Daniel, ever so humble, is like, nah, I can't. He's got part-time jobs, school, you know the drill. Then the scout plays his trump card. The contract includes meals. And look at him. The drool says it all. The man's priorities are straight. So Big Daniel agrees. But hold up, who's actually awake right now? It's our little Daniel. And he's internally screaming. Me? Auditioning for PTJ? He's about to walk into the lion's den, and the pressure is on. Stepping into the recording studio, Daniel is in awe. But he's not alone. He brought his best bud, Duke. And Duke, well, Duke is ready. He introduces himself with a salute and launches into his performance. Rap, dance, and a heart-wrenching monologue? Okay, a little much, but you can't deny the passion. After Duke's explosive performance, it's Daniel's turn. He's like, wait, I'm just here for moral support. But they call him up anyway. Out of pure awkwardness, he just blurts out, the American national anthem? Bro, what are you doing? The cringe is off the charts. But wait a minute. Back in the control room, the producers are actually impressed. Where'd you find him? They see potential in Duke's raw energy. And the final decision comes down to the man in sunglasses, the one and only DG. What's the verdict, legend? Later, Daniel switches bodies and leaves with Duke. In the elevator, they run into a group of female trainees. Of course, the moment they see our boy's handsome face, the fangirling is real. He's gorgeous, but they immediately dismiss Duke as his fugly manager. Ah, the irony. Just as everyone is obsessing over Daniel, the real superstar shows up. It's DG in the flesh. The entire lobby explodes. Flashes are going off. Fans are screaming his name. This is the kind of star power we're dealing with. Amidst all the chaos, a phone call is made. And the news is so shocking it wakes little Daniel right up from his nap. What did you say? Whatever he just heard, it's a game changer. And here's the bombshell. Daniel passed the audition. Our boy, who literally sang the national anthem and left, passed. And Duke failed. I passed and he failed. Daniel can't believe it. This industry is brutal. The next day, he's told to come alone. Your friend can't come. Walking up to the Pete J building, the weight of the situation hits him. He got this opportunity by accident, at the expense of his friend's dream. He's officially a trainee now. First thing he sees are the rules, a long list of things that'll get you kicked out. Talk about pressure. He's placed in Class C, the bottom of the barrel, where he meets his new classmates, like this guy Oliver who's been a trainee for 6 years. 6 years. Mun. Daniel introduces himself, and then, wait, is that Duke? He made it in after all. Our boy must have pulled some strings. Duke is ecstatic, of course. Just as they're getting settled, another newbie walks in, and everyone is shocked. Who's this new arrival? So the whole gang goes out for a meal to welcome the newbies. And it turns out, the new girl, Laysol, already knows Daniel. Talk about a small world. Remember that modeling gig where they had to act like a couple? Yep, that's her. This is going to be interesting. Laysol explains that the agency saw her in the pictures with Daniel and reached out. She thought it sounded fun, but then she leans in and whispers, and you're here. Oh boy, the fangirling is real. Meanwhile, Daniel's only thought is, sweet, the company is paying for this meal. Duke's ready to feast and orders the special combo, but Oliver quickly shuts him down. Whoa there, we're Class C. We only get a $4 allowance. Yep, you heard that right. Your lunch money depends on your rank. The hierarchy is brutal. And speaking of Class A, look over there. They're the ones closest to making their debut. And of course, they're chowing down on the special combo that Duke wanted. The difference in treatment is just staring them right in the face. What's worse, the Class A kids barely touch their expensive food before leaving. Oliver explains that this industry isn't like school. You can't just work hard and expect to debut. It's a whole different cutthroat world. Duke sees all that perfectly good food going to waste and can't stand it. He makes a dash for the table, planning to take the leftovers before they're cleared. His classmates are stunned. What are you doing? And of course, just at that moment, the Class A trainees walk back in. They catch Duke red-handed, trying to snag their food. The lead guy, this redhead, just smirks, clearly enjoying the drama. How awkward. Surprisingly, the Class A members are cool about it. Just give him the food. One says we're on a diet anyway. But Duke is mortified. He feels like he's embarrassed everyone and is determined to fix it. But then Joy, another trainee, steps up and pays for everyone's meal, saving the day. But something feels off to Daniel. She's just a trainee. How can she afford that? And why lie about it? The plot thickens. The tension escalates as the redhead starts threatening to snitch to the boss. Seeing things are about to get ugly, Joy grabs Daniel and makes a run for it, leaving the conflict and a plate of sushi behind. Feeling guilty, Duke gives his bus fare to Daniel, causing him to miss the last bus home. He's left alone at the bus stop, looking pretty down about the whole situation. He stares at a big ad featuring Aru, another successful trainee. You'll debut soon, he thinks to himself. Can I do it too? The self-doubt is starting to creep in. Just as he's feeling lost and alone, a gloved hand offers him a warm drink. This small act of kindness in the cold night seems to catch him completely off guard. Back at school, Daniel is now a trainee, which means he only has to show up once a week. His classmates are totally jealous, asking if he's a star now. Little do they know, he's just stressing about the cost of feeding 2 bodies. But the moment he gets to the agency, he's called over by a senior trainee who's smoking outside. And judging by his expression, this isn't a friendly welcome. It looks like trouble. This guy gets right in Daniel's face, puts out a cigarette he wasn't even smoking, and warns him not to get cocky. I'll have my eye on you, he says. Our boy hasn't even been here a week, and he's already making enemies. Classic protagonist problems. He gets away from that guy only to bump into someone else he recognizes. It's Aru, the famous idol. Daniel is a bit starstruck, thinking she looks even thinner in person than on TV. Aru starts a conversation, but the redhead from before suddenly appears and warns Daniel to stay away from them, calling them the abandoned ones. What's the story there? This place is full of drama. It turns out the trainees at PDJ are split into 3 classes, A, B, and C, who share the dance studios on a rotating schedule. And apparently, Class A has a nasty habit of trashing the place right before Class C's turn. Looking at the mess, everyone starts complaining. Word is that before Aru's debut, she used to be close with the Class A leaders, but something happened that turned them into rivals. The mystery deepens. Dance practice begins, and the instructor immediately pegs Daniel and Duke as total beginners. He tells them it'll take 3 months just to learn the basics. With the monthly evaluation coming up, the pressure is on. Duke talks a big game about how idols have no talent and real musicians are underground. But when it comes to practice, he's going harder than anyone. He knows this is his shot, and he's not about to waste it. Then, Duke has a brilliant idea. Daniel's handsome body is perfect, a natural dancer. He can use that body to master the moves perfectly, then switch back to his original body to practice. It's the ultimate cheat code. Meanwhile, back at school, little Daniel is still getting picked on for his weight, especially by Zoe, who seems to have it out for him. It's such a stark contrast to the life his other body is living. Thanks to their brilliant two-body training method, Big Daniel's dancing skills improve at an insane rate. After just 2 weeks, he's already blowing his classmates away. They're calling him a genius. The day of the monthly evaluation arrives, and the legendary DG himself is there to watch. The tension is thick. Everyone is whispering about Daniel, this mysterious newcomer who seems to have come out of nowhere. When the Class C trainees enter, they're met with disdain. The other trainees look down on them, especially Duke. EW, who's that pig? One of them says. So cruel. The guys from Class A are sizing Daniel up too, dismissing him as just a pretty face with no real talent. They can't wait to see him fail. The evaluation is about to begin. The monthly evaluation kicks off with Class A's group dances. Both the boys and girls are incredible, showing off their polished skills. You can tell they're the closest to making a debut. Next up are the solo performances from Class A's aces, Oliver and Laysol. Their stage presence is off the charts, totally professional. They absolutely kill it, wowing everyone in the room. The judges are blown away, agreeing they're both ready for debut. But from the corner of the room, someone is watching them with a very intense look. And now, it's our boy's turn. Daniel takes a deep breath. This is it. The moment to show everyone what his 2-week cheating regimen has accomplished. The moment Daniel steps up, all eyes are on him. When the judge asks how long he's been training, he honestly replies, for a month. The room buzzes with disbelief. Everyone is eager to see what this rookie can do. The music starts, and it's like Daniel's body has a mind of its own. He executes every move flawlessly, a perfect copy of what he learned. His performance is powerful and captivating, a total transformation from the clumsy newbie he was. When he finishes, the room is dead silent. Everyone is completely stunned by his performance. Even the smug Class A trainees are speechless. This guy, he's a monster. Next up is the acting evaluation. The script is about a severely bullied outcast. The judges think there's no way a handsome guy like Daniel could ever relate to that kind of character. They have no idea. Instantly, Daniel's mind flashes back to all the bullying and humiliation his original body endured. That pain, etched into his very soul, becomes the fuel for his performance. He starts to tremble, his body language screaming fear and despair. Every glance, every movement perfectly captures the essence of a victim. He instinctively curls up, as if the bullies were right there in front of him. His acting is so real it's chilling. The judges are absolutely floored, calling him a genius. Even the girls who were looking down on him before are now completely captivated. That's our boy, shutting down the haters with pure talent. The judges are so impressed that they decide on the spot. Debut him now. The announcement shocks everyone, especially Oliver and Laysol from Class A, whose faces are a mixture of confusion and disbelief. Later that night, Daniel accidentally stumbles upon Oliver and Laysol having a secret rendezvous. He learns they're a couple, forced to hide their relationship to avoid being kicked out of the agency. DG finds them too, but instead of snitching, he just warns them to be careful. After they leave, Daniel finds a hidden box inside the piano, labeled Oliver and Aru. It seems to hold a secret from their past, and we dive into a flashback. It turns out, Aru used to have a crush on Oliver and confessed her feelings to him. But Oliver, focused solely on his dream of debuting, coldly rejected her, setting the stage for all the drama to come. Back in the present, Daniel's amazing performance has earned him an invitation to a company dinner. Here, he gets his first taste of the entertainment industry's social scene. After the dinner, Oliver and Aru run into each other in the lounge. The atmosphere between them is thick with awkwardness and unspoken history. Aru opens up to Oliver about the pressure she's under, revealing her family is poor and counting on her to succeed. Oliver relates to her struggle, and for a moment, the wall between them seems to crumble a little. But reality is harsh. During the weight evaluation, Aru fails for being just 1 pound over the limit, putting her at risk of being cut. In this world, weight management is an ironclad rule. Desperate to pass, Aru strips off her heavy jacket and even unclips her bra right there in front of everyone. It's just enough to make the weight. The trainee world is absolutely brutal and unforgiving. Oliver hears what happened. He tries to distract himself by playing the piano, but his mind is clearly on Aru. Meanwhile, Laysol also feels worried and decides to go check on her. Oliver finds Aru crying by herself. She finally breaks down, sobbing that it's too hard and she just wants to go home. Without a word, Oliver reaches out and takes her hand, offering silent comfort. From that day on, something shifts between them. They start practicing together, walking home together. It's like the distance that separated them has finally disappeared. But it turns out this was all orchestrated by Laisol. She used Aru's vulnerability, pushing Oliver to comfort her, all in an effort to mend their friendship and protect the secret relationship between the three of them. On Laisol's birthday, she and Oliver share a kiss under the city lights. And there's the truth. They're the real couple. Aru was just a pawn, a cover to hide their relationship from the agency. But little do they know, Aru is watching them from a car nearby. She sees everything, betrayed by her best friend and the boy she likes, all at once. What a devastating twist. Where does their story go from here?